You know, I really appreciate a good roller coaster station. You know, it helps build up your anticipation, and parks can really go all out with this. You know, you could just go as basic as just a plain simple box, but where's the fun in that? Theme it up, make it exciting.
Or you could go the Emperor route and not even
have a station. Today we're going to be talking about the best stations, and Emperor is not one of them.
No.
But we do have some pretty incredible rides that we've experienced all around the world that just like get that hype going right before you're about to climb aboard your coaster. So we're going to go through and list off some of our favorites, but this is not going to be a ranking, and that's because when we were looking at all of these, one, it was hard to narrow it down to like
it's too much work.
The 10 best, but also, how do you even rank a roller coaster station? Like, what is the criteria for that?
Well, budget also creates a problem too, because if you take like a Disney station compared to like a Six Flags station, it's like, oh, that's not really fair.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that Six Flags doesn't do good stations when they want to.
100%.
There's some really impressive ones. I think we should start things off by shouting out a station that recently got redone in the Six Flags chain, Poltergeist.
Yeah, so this is the mastermind of Jeff Siebert.
Yeah, and the team at Fiesta just went all out with this one, and they did just such a good job. It's so spooky and atmospheric.
It's really, really cool. It kind of feels like you're entering a haunted mansion.
Yeah.
And then it's, you know, like a premier spaghetti bowl instead.
Yeah. But what's amazing is this station used to be covered, but you can still see into the outside world, but they really enclosed the whole thing.
Yeah, it's dark.
They also themed up the queue leading up to it. And also we should clarify that for this, we really are just talking about the immediate loading areas for this video. So none of the queues, I wouldn't even say the outside of the station is as important as like the inside. That's really what we want to focus on with this video. And just down the street from Universal Studios Florida at Epcot, you have the station for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. And in this case, you are on a Nova ship. You've been teleported off the planet. You're floating through space, and then you have to go save the galaxy and get the cosmic generator back.
The kind of like stylistic choice they went for is, while it is somewhat minimalist, it is done very well. And, you know, when you think about like space and like the Guardians movies, it's pretty on point with what you would think.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's dual loading, so right when you walk down this ramp, you see it off to either side. And actually, while we're talking about Guardians, Tron has the exact same setup.
Oh, you're so cool with your Tron shirt.
Yeah.
Look at him being a Disney fan.
No.
Anyway, again, like they're kind of going with like the more sleek, minimalist, like modern look.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot on this list that is the total opposite of that. That is just like stuff everywhere and very detailed and everything. But this is more like, how can we make this look futuristic?
Yep. And Daft Punk's soundtrack, fantastic.
So good. So in contrast to what we were saying before with these very kind of like slick, minimalist kind of designs, I want to shout out for Bolton for being the exact opposite. So this one has so much decor going on.
It's very busy.
But like it all works.
Yeah. Well, the whole idea here is that it's a tourism agency.
Yeah.
And it's taking you on a tour through the Black Forest.
Yeah.
And so that's why you have the vehicles pulling up, and there's all these signs in German, a lot of stickers everywhere. There's a lot of really good like Easter eggs in there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that place is, that's a really cool station.
It's very busy, but it's like in a very nice, cool way.
Yeah, you're in that station, then you go over to like Pantheon Station. It's like, what happened here?
It was just like a few flags.
Yeah, but also in the same park, another good station. This is actually their newest coaster, Dark Coaster.
Yeah, it's the best part of the ride.
I thought the station here was actually done really well. I wish that the rest of the experience had like
that level of thematic.
Yeah, but the station here, you know, they retrofitted the old area for Curse of Dark Castle, and they added up some steps, they added some arches and everything, some windows where there's like storm lighting out through there. It's pretty cool.
I really like it.
Yeah.
So for the next one, I want to shout out one of my favorite roller coasters of all time. That is Ride to Happiness. So if you don't already know, Ride to Happiness is themed to a music festival that goes on in Europe. But they have a huge head, and she's almost like this guardian of the station.
Yeah.
And she keeps repeating the same thing. What is it?
Live today, love tomorrow, unite forever.
And it's so good. And it just sets the tone perfectly.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, just the architecture style of everything. And this one's not a crazy over-the-top station, but everything's very steampunk. So, like, it just works perfectly for a mock extreme spinner. And from one mock extreme spinner to another, Time Traveler, the original, over at Silver Dollar City is so cool. You just have gears everywhere. You hear clocks going, just tick-tock, back and forth. And it is awesome. Silver Dollar City did not need to go off like that, but they did, and it's fantastic.
So speaking of things that are my favorite, if you know me, you know that I love aliens. So Flight of Fear made the list.
Oh yeah, well, and this one's just so cool. Not just the loading area. As you're walking up to it, you have a literal UFO that you're walking inside. It's in this containment area. Everything's very Area 51. It's so cool.
I love aliens.
Yeah, I love that. Like, as you're waiting to board, you see the containment areas where, like, you have some of the creatures inside, and then you have the ride operators right there in the center. And then, of course, they're always screwing with everyone, just like, so do you guys want a countdown or do you want a surprise? And then, boop, there you go. So there's two relatively new coasters that both went with, like, a subway station vibe, but they went different directions. They're both really well done. So we have Gotham City Escape at Parque Warner Madrid, and then Monster at Groenland.
Yeah, so Park Warner Madrid, obviously it's a Batman-themed roller coaster. You're obviously, like, escaping after, like, the Joker comes in and everything, and it's got, like, this, like, board that's, like, circulating through different locations of, like...
Which train to climb on.
Yeah. So, like, it has, like, a very distinct vibe to it, and it's, like, works really well with building up anticipation for this ride, which is already so amazing.
Yeah.
And, like, it's great.
You actually feel like you're underground, which is really cool. Gotham City Escape makes you feel like you're underground, but Monster Station is quite literally underground. And this one is much more old school. You know, it's very dated and classic, but it's so cool. I love the old, like, movie posters off to the side. It's, again, like, not super well lit. The lighting is, like, with the orbs and everything is really cool. It is a great way to start off your experience.
So the next one on the list is one that we can't actually show you because it is, like, the most elusive station to be able to see because you only can see it if you're there in person.
Yeah, that would be Fly at Phantasialand. So in this case, you have to go through metal detectors, so no one has any photos of this thing because you can't have your phone with you.
There are probably, like, illegal POVs out there, but, like, we're not going to show anything like that because they don't want that out there.
Yeah, Phantasialand is very tight
it.
around. That's why it's like you can't even find like a POV of Fly out there.
Yeah.
Just take our word for it. The station is awesome. Again, kind of very steampunk-esque with like a big gear and everything. And,
Yeah. If you're impressed by Rookburg, you'll like the station.
Yeah.
How about that?
Fantastic stuff. And speaking of stations that are tough to get footage of, Velocicoaster Station is awesome. I love this because it overlooks like the Raptor paddock. So as you're looking at these huge glass windows, you see the track going everywhere, the big foliage. It reminds me of that scene in Jurassic World when they're standing out looking over the Indominus paddock.
All right, I'll keep with the Orlando theme here. One of the coolest stations in Orlando comes from our lovely rock and roller coaster where you are launching out of what is literally like a parking garage, which doesn't sound glamorous or cool, but the way that they do it, it is so, like, fun and dressed up, and it's so good. It's so good.
No, it's exactly what you expect from, like, an LA parking garage, but it's, like, meant to look dirty, but it's intentional, so it just works.
Yes, absolutely.
One last Disney coaster will shout out. Space Mountain, but specifically the one at Disneyland. I love how they have, like, the spacecraft overhead of you that you walk all the way around. You can look down on the station below you. It totally, like, gets you amped up for this thing.
I'm adding in the one at Magic Kingdom because I think that station is really, really cool too.
I don't think it's as cool as Disneyland.
It's so cool. We got all the stuff overhead and like where you see like the stars and they have like those cool like blinking things that are like telling you to get ready and to launch and everything.
Maybe.
In space. I like it.
I don't know. I think Disneyland does it better. Comment below.
Leviathan at SeaWorld Australia is, if not the best, one of the best stations for a roller coaster, period. Because it is literally like being in an underwater grotto where you are surrounded by these very high definition screens that look like you have sea life all around you. And then the Leviathan comes in and he's like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And it's so good.
The production value here is just incredible. I think this is my favorite roller coaster station. It gets you so amped up because you have the screens all around you. It's a total reveal because they hold you until it is your turn to go. So you enter this literally empty station with the train pulling up and you look around you and yeah, it's very story driven. I get so excited for this thing. They blast like fog right as you're going. It is a total vibe. And even as you're dispatching, you can look up and see the Leviathan going over you saying, "There's no way out." Another new one that they just went above and beyond here is Tutatis at Park Asterix.
Yes,
wow.
There's so many like cool lighting fixtures in the room that like show like all this like illuminated rock work and everything.
Yeah, well, it's a cave.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, specifically like when you're dispatching, like all these little details that you might have noticed, well, you're especially going to notice now. It even looks like lightning, like shooting down on you. They spared no expense at this one.
Love that one. So this is about the time in the video where we finally give a shout out to an RMC coaster because we're due. So we're gonna talk about Untamed. So Untamed at Wallaby Holland is basically like a greenhouse kind of like look vibe going on. Like everything that is surrounding the coaster is basically overgrown land. The grass hasn't been trimmed, like the trees are out of control, but it's meant to look that way on purpose. It's untamed. It's untamed wilderness.
Yeah, the wilderness has taken over this old like garden shed. It is fantastic. Your actual ride vehicle looks like a bug. It's so cool.
It is really, really cool.
Fantastic. And then lastly, Black Mamba at Fantasialand.
Yeah.
It's not as good as Fly Station, but this thing is still really well done. So this is in the African section of the park. They love beating those drums right as you're dispatching. This one's very dark, but they also have some really cool like lighting aspects with like some reds and purples in there to illuminate everything.
It's amazing what you can do with like, even if you don't have a ton of theming elements, like not everything on this list has like a ton of decor, but you can do so much with just like lighting and stuff to create ambiance.
Yeah.
It's pretty
absolutely.
amazing.
And this is not an exhaustive list of like all roller coasters with cool stations.
What about this? What about that? I know we're not gonna think of everything.
Those are the ones that we thought of, but I feel like we at least picked out some of the best because these are all like experiences that I feel like are elevated because of how they went above and beyond with that station.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let us know down in the comments below, what are your favorite stations that you've experienced or seen? And of course, stay tuned for more here at Coaster Studios, and we'll see you next time.